all the housekeeping. So I think it's time to come and say hi to Cecilia. Cecilia, how are you?
Oh, hello, Melissa. Hello, everyone. I'm doing well. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. We're really pleased that you can be with us today because, I mean, looking at your bio, I'll tell people a bit about you. You're a teacher. You're a teacher trainer. You are a tutor on the TESOL diploma. You mentor teachers. Online teacher development is your passion. And I can see that you've taught in Brazil, the UK, and Turkey. A lot of experience. And I'm really happy to have you here because I know you're going to talk about something which has kind of practical implications for the classroom, but it's got a strong base in academic research because you're doing your PhD at the moment in applied linguistics at the University of Warwick. So that, I think that will really appeal to lots of the teachers here who are interested in combining practical things with some academic research, and it's a really great topic. So if you're ready, Cecilia, you can share your slides. I'll be here in the background. If you need anything, just ask me.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa and everyone. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you. Let me just get my slides ready. Yes. So we'll be talking about video-based observations and for self-development. And it's a pleasure to be here. I'll be talking about, this topic is very, very dear to my heart. As Melissa said, it's one of my passions and one of my research interests as well. So I've been doing research, but also using videos for my own professional development. So I'm going to share a few insights from my experience, from other teachers' experiences, but also backed up by research. So I think that's important as well. So feel free to make some comments, questions in the Q&A session. It's a pleasure. Feel free to make. Joanna, sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, so let's get started. So some food for thought. And can you answer in the chat box? Have you ever observed yourself teaching through video? So I mean, if you teach online, have you ever watched yourself, recorded yourself and observed yourself? Or if you teach face-to-face, maybe, you know, if you have a phone, have you recorded a lesson and then observed? So can you please answer in the chat box? And if so, how was this experience? Was it positive? Was it lovely? Or was it intimidating, nerve-wracking? How did you feel? Irritated. I can see some people saying, Afsana, I'm sorry. I apologize if I don't pronounce your names correctly. Positive, Rita is saying positive. That's great. Never. Olena said never. Okay, Olena. No, not yet. If you have said not yet or no, never, can you tell us why? Why you haven't done that? And this is not a judgmental question, okay? It's a curious, it's a genuine question. It's horrible. Olga is saying it's horrible, hated my recorded voice. That happens a lot in the beginning, right? We don't know how we sound. Thank you so much for your answers. Okay. So I just want to bring this quote from Thomas Farrell, who says that video as a re-examination of both Dewey's and John's work. If you want to know more about the video and reflective practice, I recommend their work. Has reinforced the idea that reflective practice is not isolated introspection. So we'll be tackling this concept of reflective practice, and rather it's evidence-based. in that teachers need to systematically collect evidence about their work to then make decisions. So what I'm going to talk about today is the use of videos as evidence of our own teaching that leads to professional development. And Mann and Walsh have also stated that video use can also help building a long-term sense of growth and development. Okay, we believe that the use of video as evidence requiring a focus on concrete detail reduces the likelihood of faking it. What do I mean by faking it? So if you teach at an institution, a language school or mainstream school, I believe you have been through these observations where your manager or line manager or academic supervisor, they observe your lesson live, right? They might sit on the corner and then observe your lesson. And what happens with this traditional kind of method is more often than not, teachers might fake, right? They might prepare a wonderful lesson and they might do things that they wouldn't otherwise do in another lesson. So we're going to talk about videos as an authentic way of teaching and reflecting on our teaching. So it reduces this possibility of faking it. It's more authentic. Okay, so it's just a screenshot of one of my lessons, and I'll try to sell this idea to you. Let's see. Why video-based observations? So why? What are the benefits of video-based observations? So can you tell me if you have used video-based observations before, can you tell me some of the benefits in the chat box? Right, yeah, there are some regulations, yes, we will talk about as well. For before recording, you need to get consent from the students, from if they are under 18, you need to get consent from their guardians, from their parents, from the head teacher, etc. Yeah, because seeing is believing, it's authentic. Fiona Rodriguez, I love this phrase, Fiona, seeing is believing. I've actually given another webinar last month or 2 months ago on that very title. So it's nice to see that. Reference, reflect, self-assessment. Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so these are some of the reasons why teachers, how teachers can benefit from video-based observations, okay? Because it gives evidence, it provides evidence of our practice. It's not someone telling us what happened in the classroom, but it's really, you watch yourself and you know exactly what happened, okay? So it gives us concrete evidence. It can also enhance reflection because of that evidence. Our reflections are more objective. They are more real. So that also enhances reflection. I think some people mentioned that in the chat box. And apologize. And it also gives more opportunities for verbal reflection, which is a type of reflection, it's a format of reflection that I would say is a little bit overlooked because we tend to value more the written reflection, right? Someone writing down. But how about verbal reflection? When you watch yourself, you make some comments. If you're doing peer observation, you can just have a discussion with a colleague. So it gives this verbal reflection. It also allows you to have more constructive feedback. Again, if you're doing peer observation, peer reflection, you can receive and give constructive feedback to your peer. And it also increases our awareness, the ability to notice things that would go unnoticed in a more, let's say, in a more traditional approach of observation. So, for example, when you teach and you record and then you watch your lesson, you can focus on, for example, on your teacher talking time, or perhaps you can focus on the student's behavior. You might have a shy student. You can focus on that student as well. So it really increases our ability to notice and to become more aware of the things that happen in the classroom. Okay, and this leads to teacher reflection. So how that analysis of our own lessons connects to teacher reflection. This is from our book. So it focuses on, because it focuses on details, not just general concepts, but also on details, as I've mentioned before. We can revisit unnoticed moments. Has that ever happened to you? So your manager, your supervisor goes to your class, you arrange an observation, yeah, right? Live observation, and then they take notes, okay, of things that you do, good things, things to improve. And then when you have this, and after the lesson, when you have that conversation, that post-lesson conversation, they might say, oh, you did so and so, and you might not even remember things that you've said, things that your students have said, right? So in a more traditional approach, we might forget what happens, because come on, we are just one person. We're just human beings. We cannot focus on many different things happening. So this is a moment to revisit this unnoticed teachable stances. We also become more sensitive to classroom talk, to our talk, to students' talk, and and the abstract becomes more concrete. Okay, so these are some of the reasons why video analysis can lead or may lead to teacher reflection. And there are different types of video reflections, okay, and how you can watch your lessons through video. So you may want to do some self-observation where you record your lesson, be it online or face-to-face, and then you observe your recorded lesson by yourself. You may take notes, you can pause, replay, etc. So this is self-observation. The peer observation, you will do that with a peer, with a colleague. They might work at the same institution as you do, or they might not. They don't have to. If you, depending on where you are, I'm in the UK, for example, but I have friends who teach in Brazil. I have friends who teach in Spain, and we might want to record our lessons and exchange. Okay, so you don't have to work at the same place as your peer. It can also be a supervisor. Your supervisor can watch your lesson, make sure that if this is done, you agree on the timing, if it's going to be a live observation, or if you're going to record the session and then send the lesson to your supervisor. And one of my favorite, actually, one of my favorite methods is with students. You might want to observe a lesson and have a conversation with your students or with one student and try to find out more about what that student did or why they said such and such in the lesson. When I did my my MA, one of the participants of my research, he is a teacher from Spain, okay? And he told me that he does exactly that. So he records his session and he, of course, he has the consent. He got the consent from all the people involved. And then he speaks to different students after the recording, after he has the recording, and they both watch some moments of the session, and he asks the students a few questions about what happened in the session. I thought that was fantastic. So instead of us assuming why your students said that, or I don't know, maybe one student starts sleeping, right? Or yawning, you may want to ask why and try to get more information before just assuming that, oh, they are not interested or they are lazy. Before labeling students, it's good to ask them, to involve them. And research also tells us that it's important to learn how to observe. This is a skill. Observing is a skill, and and as a skill, it should be trained. We cannot assume that it's easy to observe, and I just record my lesson and I'm going to observe, and so what? It might be a bit intimidating. So it's important to learn how to observe, to understand the details, and to observe something, to see something without judging that our voices look terrible, sound terrible, or judging a few things that happen in the classroom, right? So it's important to step back and really focus on the evidence. What are you seeing? And there are also some tools for deep thinking that helps us. The tools that help us, to observe and to notice things. As I've mentioned before, these are some of the skills that we can develop through video-based lesson observation. So as I've mentioned before, noticing is one, okay? Noticing without judging, describing things, describe what's going on, being very objective instead of being subjective. We can also develop the skill of discussing, especially if you have a peer to discuss, we can develop that skill. Changing or adapting things that we want to change in our practice. We don't have to, but it's something that we may want to do. And also the ability to reflect. I mentioned that there are some tools we can use to help us notice, to help us observe better. And these are some of the tools. Tell me if you know all of them or some of them or none of them, that's fine. The first one, who knows what Otter AI is for? Can you tell me on the chat box if you know Otter AI? Don't Google it. No cheating. Otter AI is a tool that transcribes the video, okay? It transcribes, some of them, okay. So, and transcription is a great feature. If you have the video and its transcription, that's amazing. That's great evidence for us to reflect. Okay, so Otter AI transcribes. Of course, we have our old and good Zoom, right? Zoom and Teams. Zoom doesn't have the transcription yet. I'm hoping that they will add this feature soon. But you can use the captions, right? You can use the captions on Zoom. I like Teams. Have you ever used the video conference on Teams, Microsoft Teams? I like it. I like Teams because, again, it gives us, it generates the transcription, and you can also download the transcription. I think that's amazing. If you don't have these, if you cannot access these video conference tools, verbatim scripting is when you transcribe the lesson. So, for example, what I'm saying here, you transcribe word by word. It's not a summary of the lesson. It's really what the person is saying with their hesitations, with pauses and everything. It's more time consuming, I know, but it's just a feature that, you know, can be used. Tagging. Not all tools offer this tagging feature, which is, it's a shame, but I'm hoping that this will be more popular in the future. So tagging is when you can watch a video and pause and tag that moment. For example, teacher is giving feedback, or teacher talking time, or you can tag as pair work. And one of the tools that has this tagging feature is VEO. VEO, if you work for an institution, I highly recommend. It's the problem is it's a bit expensive. So if you are a freelancer, it's not affordable. But if you work at an institution, you might want to suggest them to have a look, and perhaps you can get some funding, because VEO, I've used VEO in my master's research, and it's a great tool for tagging. It's a great tool for peer observation. It's really, really good, but yeah, it's paid. You can also use some frameworks, and I'm going to show you frameworks that are available that can be helpful. And Vilt is a project by the University of Warwick, where I study, where it's free. So if you Google Vilt, University of Warwick, you can find this amazing website where you can find videos of teachers teaching, webinars, testimonials of how teachers use videos, video-based observation in their practice. And you might be asking yourself, okay, I want to start doing some self-observation, but what am I going to observe? So it's important to have a focus, okay? You need to have a purpose. What do you want to observe? These are just some ideas that you might want to choose as a focus of your observation. So you might want to look at your teacher talking time and student talking time. How much do you speak? Do you speak for the most part of the lesson, or for example, in a 1 hour lesson, you can analyze how much, on how long you speak for, your teacher talking time over that lesson, and student talking time. Nominations, I mean, nominate students to speak and to collaborate. And how do you do that? Do you nominate just the stronger students? Do you nominate do you nominate everybody? So you can analyze that as well. You can analyze, you can observe the tasks. What kind of tasks do you assign? Interaction patterns. Do you want to look at student interaction, teacher, whole class, or teacher students? So this is another focus that you might want to do. The materials, specific linguistic areas, how to teach whatever, a grammar topic, how to teach vocabulary, or how to teach specific areas. You may want to observe the errors made by students, or you may want to observe how you give feedback on errors from your students. So you see that the focus can be either on yourself or on your students, or sometimes even both. You may want to observe, to look at your instructions, how you give instructions, inductive approach, how you use the board, if you use a virtual board, a whiteboard online, how do you use it? So there are different, just some ideas if you want to, to get started. And I'm going to show you some framework examples. One practical one, I really like this framework, that's by Paul Seedhouse, Miller and Haynes, from their book. It's this one. Okay, so it's a practical framework for integrating digital video and video enhanced observation. So you start with the planning. So you need to plan what you're going to observe, who you're going to observe. You're going to observe yourself. Are you going to observe a colleague, right? So the first stage is planning. The second stage is recording. So once you've chosen your focus, you've arranged the observation, you set up the observation with a peer, for example, you're going to do the recording of the lesson. Stage 3 is the reflecting. How you're going to reflect? Are you going to take notes? Are you going to analyze the transcription? Are you going to transcribe your video? Or are you going to watch, pause, take notes, and replay? Stage 4 is for peer observation. So it's the discussion part. And stage 5, this is optional, is the action. What kind of actions are you going to take from now on? Do you want to take any actions? Do you want to change anything? Are you going to plan to observe another lesson, or is one lesson enough? So this is the moment where you plan the next steps. And this is another framework that you may want to use, a little bit simpler than the previous one, but you know, it's another option. This is planning for peer observation. So it starts with the background and goals. This is for every observation that you do, okay? So what's the background? What are your goals? What's the purpose of your observation? So you need to think about the purpose, not just doing that because I'm telling you that is a good idea, but it really needs to resonate with what you're doing with your professional development. Okay. So consider the outcomes, the concerns, the challenges as well. PO is PO observation, okay? The implications. So you need to think about the background and the goals. And then you focus on the observation data. So think about how you will observe, what kind of tools are you going to use, how are you going to collect data, how are you going to interpret data, and store. How about storage? We're going to talk about that too. How are you going to store? Where are you going to store those videos? Then the logistics. If you're doing peer observation, confirm the class, the time, if it's going to be a live, as I said before, delayed observation, how is the video going to be shared, and try to include a timely post-observation conversation, because the sooner, if you both you and your colleague can have this discussion, the sooner you can have it, the more meaningful it will be, because things will be fresh in your mind, and yeah, it's just more, it can be more memorable, more practical. So think about that. And finally, the impact of that observation. So how is this observation, or the set, or the series of observations, how are they going to impact your teaching practice? So think about the channel and process for enabling the learner to inform the whole school practices or your own practice. Okay, and these are some, just checking the time here. These are some tools where you can store and also give teacher feedback. So the first one is YouTube. I don't know if you know that YouTube has also unlisted videos. So you can create a channel on YouTube, and this channel will not be visible. It won't be searchable, okay? So you choose, when you upload the video to your channel, you choose the option unlisted, okay? So the videos will be viewable only to people who have the link. So you may want to, let's say you record your session, but you don't want this to go to YouTube. You don't want other people to watch it, just your colleague, okay? So you can still upload it to YouTube, choose the unlisted, and then share the link with that teacher, with your friend, and only that teacher will be able to watch it, okay? Microsoft Teams as well, you can store the videos there, and you can have, as it says, it's Teams, you can have a group, you can have a community with that teacher or other teachers, and your videos will be, your lessons will be stored there, and they are, it allows for secure uploads. The old and good Dropbox as well. So it's useful for uploading large video files, right? And you can share the folders, excuse me, with your colleagues. And one of my favorite ones is Google Drive. I really like Google Drive. It offers ample storage, depending on how much you upload. You will need to pay an extra fee. I don't remember how much it is. I think I pay £3 per month for the extra storage, okay? But because I have lots of videos, you can imagine. But it's really easy to share. And again, you know, you can create folders and you can share the folders with the other teachers. I don't know, I haven't checked the... And finally, my final piece of advice, if I may, is to, I know that many teachers have asked, okay, I would love that, but I don't have extra time. Yes. And I totally get it. I totally get it. I don't think this framework, this practice should be an extra burden for our already busy schedule. So it's important to implement videos within your timetable. Okay. And this, and by this I mean you don't have to record a full session. You might want to record just a 15-minute activity that you really want to observe, or you might want to record just when the students are doing their work, or they're doing pair work or group work. So it doesn't have to be a full, you know, a 1 hour or a 50-minute lesson. It's also important to be something voluntary. I do not believe in forcing people to do things, forcing. I don't believe this is productive, and it's important if there are any trainers, supervisors, managers, you may offer, and I think it's a great idea to offer this opportunity to teachers, but make sure that this is voluntary if they want to participate, and give them the tools and the time to do that within their timetable. If you have never done any observation before, I would recommend using some guidance and frameworks as one of the ones that I showed you. You may want to start with a critical friend. A critical friend is not is a friend, a teacher, a colleague that you really trust, and you can start this peer observation. And that the two last ones relate to our previous conversations, right? So the videos can be bite-sized. They don't have to be full hour videos, and because it's voluntary, if you want to do that voluntary, it should not, this practice should not be assessed, okay? Because the aim is to really foster reflective practice, foster professional development. And if we start grading it, assessing it, we just spoil the whole purpose. So I do not recommend assessment of any kind. These are the references if you want to know more about it. And thank you. If you want to find me on social media, ask me more questions. These are my channels. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Great, thanks, Cecilia. And yes, we had some people in the chat saying, does Cecilia have a way to contact her? So that's fantastic. Sure. They can find you on LinkedIn or on Instagram. Thanks for that. We've got a lot of questions because people are really interested. And I noticed lots of people saying, wow, this is something really new for me. Like, not a lot of people have thought about it before, even though I think lots of people watching are experienced teachers. Has that been your experience? Have you worked with...
Yes, I think, yeah, I think for some teachers, this is it can be a bit new, because as I've mentioned before, this is more self-directed, right? Yeah. It's not, it's a bottom-up approach. So, and it does require some time from teachers. So I understand that this might be a new concept. Yeah,
maybe the only teachers maybe the only teachers who do this regularly are online teachers, because that might be their observation. But if you're a classroom teacher, maybe maybe not.
Totally, exactly. Yeah.
That's actually the way I started doing this, because I do a lot of webinars, so I see the recordings, and then then yeah, I see how it can be applied to the actual
Yeah.
physical classroom as
Yeah.
well.
I just forgot to mention, if you teach face to face, you can still record with your phone. You don't need like a proper, camera, tripod. You don't need them.
Yeah.
You can use your phone.
Yeah, quality is good, right?
It
On mobile
is
recordings
getting
these
better
days.
and better. Yeah. So you just place
Wow.
your phone in a very strategic position in the classroom, maybe on your students' tables, or if there is a table at the front where you can get, the most of the classroom. So yeah, your good old phone.
Yeah. Actually, somebody did actually ask a quite an interesting question. It's Ahmed Reda Baba Arbi, and Ahmed asks, I'd like to know what's the best angle to record video from. Like, do you recommend at the front where you are, or at the back?
Yeah, it really depends. I've seen lessons from other teachers being recorded from the back and from the front. It really depends. I would say if the focus is on the teacher, perhaps recording from the back is a good idea, because it would just focus on you, the teacher, and you will see just students back. But if you also want to focus on students, perhaps from the front, it would be best.
Yeah. Yeah, someone else asked a question about could you do this with a big class? I think you started answering there. It depends what you
yes,
want to focus on.
I've seen big classes. I've seen lessons in Malawi. There are more like than 50 students. If it's possible, one idea that you may want to try is to ask students, give a phone to one of your students, a responsible one, and ask them to be a cameraman and to record. You may need to train them a little bit and ask them to go and record the lesson. I've seen that, and I thought it was really nice. Instead of you recording, you assign this role, let's say the cameraman, camera woman role, to one of your students. I'm sure that they will love this responsibility.
I can think of some students in my class that would actually really like that job, and it would be something they would remember and something they would kind of take pride in. It's a nice idea. Let's look at more questions. If you want, Cecilia, you can stop sharing your slide, because sometimes it makes it easy for you to see the Q&A area. So I'm going to ask a question from Elvira Rosa, and she asks, if I have a class every day, so she must work in maybe a mainstream school, how many times a month should I observe myself? Like, what's the ideal amount?
It really depends, but I think a suggestion that I would give is perhaps once a week. A week, depending on the syllabus, depending on the topics. You might want to teach. You might want to record one lesson on teaching vocabulary, and then the other one on teaching grammar. So you have different types of lessons to observe. Or you may want to do the opposite. Okay, I want to improve the way I teach grammar. So you may want just to record lessons where you're teaching different grammar points to students from different levels, perhaps. So I don't know, I would say once a week, twice a week.
Yeah.
It depends on the focus, it depends on the goal of the teacher, right?
And how much time people have as well. But yeah, I like your advice about planning what you're going to teach and what you want to observe, because it is better when there's a focus.
Absolutely.
That's what you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, because if there's no focus, what are you going to do when you have the recording? Like, it's important to have a purpose, to have a focus.
I feel like having the focus, like all the list of the focus that you recommended, like I wrote
These are
down
just some
nominations or
suggestions, Melissa.
instructions. Yeah, that's a great, like choosing one of them sounds
Yeah.
like a enough maybe for
Yeah.
one observation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Uh, let's look at the other questions. Oh, this is interesting from Tesfai.
Mhm.
I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing their name wrong. Tesfai Nagash Bayu says, do you think that video recording may influence the real behavior of the teacher and the student?
Good
You know,
question.
when you get the students that act really well because they know
Yeah,
you're getting
yeah.
observed. Does that
I
happen?
understand this question, but I think I've never been to a reality show, but I think it must be something similar to what happens in a reality show. In the beginning, they might be, you know, they might be very aware, very self-conscious about the camera. But I think over time, and I've also researched that. So over time, when you make this a habit, when you include that within your practice, you tend to kind of forget that you're being observed, and you become more natural. So I would say it might influence perhaps in the first or the second lesson, but over time, I think no, it just becomes the norm, right? It's something that, okay, the camera is there, so you still have to interact and be authentic with your students, right?
And if the camera's small, like a mobile, like you recommend, then you don't really see it.
Non-intrusive, right? It's you know, sometimes you forget it's even there, so it's non-intrusive.
Someone asked something which connects with that. It's Leticia Perez, and she says, if I don't feel comfortable watching myself yet, could I start with audio recording?
Yes, I
to
was
get
going to
used
say
to
that.
it?
Yes, you can start with audio recording. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you could just put I mean, my phone has an audio recorder, and you could just put it on your desk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's a good way to start. To if you feel that it's a bit intimidating, the video is a bit intimidating. Yeah, start with the audio recording first, and then if you like the experience, then you may want to record, as I said, part of your lesson. You don't have to record. Just record 5 minutes of your lesson only. Then it's not too long.
And maybe it doesn't feel so intrusive, Leticia, if she does it just with just with voice.
Yes, absolutely.
That could be a good idea. Maybe Leticia, she could record with video, but just listen to it.
Yeah. You just have to you can record the video, but just listen to it without the image. Yes.
All right, there's another question that I like a lot. I want to hear your opinion. It's from Anna Fondakova. And Anna asks, are there any recommendations on when it's better to reflect on your recordings?
Well, the sooner you can reflect, the better. So if you have time to, so let's say you teach the lesson, you record it. If you have time to watch the lesson after the lesson, after you finish the lesson, great. If not, maybe the following day when you have some time. But yes, the recommendation is to reflect, or at least to watch the lesson in a timely manner, because then you can act upon it. It doesn't really accumulate. So let's say if you reflect just let's say a week later, it might not be as effective as the day, a day later, because we get busy, then other things, we start getting worried with other things, and we have other responsibilities. It's just it becomes less of a priority, I would say. So yeah, on the same day, or maybe maximum 2 days later, I would say that's the recommendation.
Yeah, and everything's fresh in your mind. Like,
your feelings as well, right? How you feel. It's not just what happened, but how you felt about it. Yeah.
Yeah, the presenters before talked about reflective practice, and a lot of it is about feelings and talking to someone about feelings. Here you might not talk to someone, but you have your own inner thoughts about what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do talk about I think did you call it a trusted friend? No, a critical friend.
Critical friend. Yes. Critical.
And someone asked in the chat, so would they be someone that watches it with you, or they just talk to you about it?
It could be, yeah, you choose. A critical friend would be someone you trust, someone who can give you constructive, honest feedback if it's solicited. But yes, you can do what we call stimulated recall. You may watch the lesson together with that critical friend and pause and have some discussions about specific moments. Or it really depends, or you may want to send the lesson to that critical friend, give them some time to watch, and then you can have a conversation. So how you do it, it really depends on your timetable, their schedule. It's something that needs to be arranged between the friend, and the teacher.
I love the idea of watching it together and pausing.
It's very powerful. Yes, it's very powerful. But again, it depends on the availability. If you both have the availability to watch together, if you are in different countries, can you meet? Depending on the time zone, is it feasible or not? So we have to think about that.
Yeah, that person is really important, aren't they? Like, it probably won't be a manager,
no,
probably someone, the person that you talk to in the teacher's room, the person that you like,
exactly.
like sharing your activities.
Because then a manager is not a critical friend. A manager is your manager, right? There's a clear hierarchy there, and that influences the observation.
Yeah, great. Let's see if there's any more questions that are interesting. Well, Ranji Kangat says, do you have a feedback form for peer observation? So, I mean, you talk mostly about self-directed observation, but this could work for peer observation.
Yes,
right? The same way. Feedback form. And Randy says she mentioned it shouldn't be rated. That's one of the rated. I think Randy means graded. That's one of the key things, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no pass or fail. Definitely.
There shouldn't be. Yeah, there shouldn't be. Because we're not talking about being observed in a CELTA course or CERTI. So not about that. We're talking about your own professional development.
Yeah,
different in a CELTA course.
Yeah, true. Well, I think we've kind of come to the end of the questions.
Lovely.
If anyone else has a last moment question, let us know. But it's a perfect time to tell everyone to download Cecilia's handout, because people are asking in the chat about tools.
Yeah.
But she's put everything there for you.
They can download everything. Yeah, and it's, again, you can contact me on my social media. I'll be happy to clarify any other questions. Okay.
And also watch out for your book that's coming soon, isn't it? Using video to support teacher reflection.
It has been published. It was a mistake forthcoming. It has been published. Yeah. It was published a few months ago. Yes, a month ago.
So we can look for that now. I'll just say the title again. Using video to support teacher reflection and development in ELT with Steve Mann and Laura Baecher?
Baecher, yes.
Baecher. Okay, great. So everyone take a look for that. So thanks again, Cecilia. I enjoyed that a lot.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Me too. And thank you everyone for your participation, for your questions. Really insightful. Yeah, and I'll see you soon. Have a lovely Saturday. You still have
great
webinars too.
Yeah. So yeah, I was going to say, everyone that's here, thanks for your participation, but stay around. We're going to close this webinar. Go and have a cup of tea, stretch your shoulders, stretch your legs, and then come back in 15 minutes at 3 o'clock UK time for planning lessons for the 21st century learner with Hafsa Aminu and Rashidat Sadiq, two amazing presenters from Nigeria who've got lots to tell you about some practical things to do in class. So happy World Teachers Day, Cecilia.
Thank you so much, Melissa. The same to you.
To everyone else. We'll see you soon.
See you. Bye. Bye, everyone.